You're up awfully early. If you find yourself having to burn the midnight oil, give DeLuna Coffee's Midnight Shift a shot. This blend is pure Pensacola. DeLuna Coffee, in conjunction with the Pensacola Police Department, created this medium dark roast to make sure the city is caffeinated. A portion of every bag of Midnight Shift sold is donated to the Raleigh Foundation for Childhood Cancer Research. Try it or one of their over 24 blends and get a discount when you use the promo code WARCHANT15. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. Shout out to James B. Corey Clark. We got questions. He has answers. The support plane, Fat Albert, carries all the engineers and equipment for the Blue Angels. There we go.
I guess I'm not well versed enough in planes to understand quite what that means. I guess military planes have engineers too, right? And equipment. So it all makes sense.
I don't know. I just know delicious coffee.
Maybe I should look up Blue Angels. Tell you what, everybody should look up delicious DeLuna coffee. Right, Aslan? Did I do that?
Absolutely.
I did that pretty well.
Absolutely. Good job. Way to sell it. Way to sell it, Corey Clark. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Everybody on YouTube, thank you. Thumbs up. Thank you. 5-star rating and a review as well on iTunes for our iOS listeners. That would very much be appreciated. Corey, we're going to
What was your last cup of DeLuna?
When or what?
When did you have the what was it? What'd you go?
You know me, Corey, I can never decide on just one thing. I always like, scattershot thoughts. So the 1559 is actually 5 different coffee origins, this blend. It's a combo. A little bit of light, a little bit of medium. It's premium, man. It's something else. I can't wait for my buddy who's coming down for Memorial Day. He's going to make a pit stop in Tallahassee. I'm going to make him and his wife the best cup of coffee they've ever had.
You're going to make them DeLunatics.
We're hurt. Florida State falls in the national championship game in PKs in a bit of twisted irony or, sad poetic fate. And they lose in PKs. So I think it was, 4-1. Santa Clara nailed all 4 of theirs. Florida State's first 2 shots, the keeper guessed wrong, but their shots hit the post and bounced out. Santa Clara, shout out, great effort or whatever. I'm not going to sit here and try to, analyze soccer all that much. It's not my. It should probably be in my account. I played soccer growing up, but you know how it goes. All about football here. Shout out to Jenna Niswanger though. Her go-ahead goal, or not even go-ahead goal, but the first goal of the game, 63rd minute, was an absolute ripper. There's a crack of a shot. Bent it in from about 20 yards out off the far post. And they were cruising along. And again, man, there's a lot of people are upset about the game. I get it. You want to see Florida State win in all endeavors. And a lot of people are not happy with the way the game ended and very critical of things. It was a brutal loss. It really was. I'm not going to sit here and feign pain, but, man, it's almost on par with Arkansas in the College World Series where you just have to catch a foul ball and then you'll get out of there as national champions, right. And you dropped it, and then everything kind of comes unraveled. I mean, I don't even know when the equalizer, 83rd minute, man. I mean, you're 7 minutes away, left. Which is it's not an eternity. I mean, 7 minutes is a long amount of time in sports, but with soccer, it's definitely a manageable amount of time. Then you have a kind of an errant pass, and then Santa Clara capitalizes on it, and then you go to PKs where you've kind of been making your hay here the last week, and then you kind of fall in it. So tough one, but still a really, really talented team, and there's a good program. That's the kind of cool thing about Florida State. Like Leonard Hamilton, good program. Mark Krikorian, good program. Lonnie Alameda, good program. They're going to be back. These aren't flukish strike while the iron's hot. We're only going to be here once, so hopefully they'll get back on the horse and be back in the championship next season.
I'd have to look it up, and I probably won't, but I can't imagine a team getting that close to winning a national championship, though, and not winning it. Like, you're only 7 minutes away. You have a goal, having the equalizer put on you with 7 minutes left, but it's not just the time. It's you gave them the goal. Like, literally, you weren't even being pressured. There was nobody. There was only one player on that side of the field for Santa Clara, it seemed like, and you just made an errant pass from a very, very experienced defender who started like 30-something games in a row and has won a national championship already, and it was just an awful moment in a terrible time. And that's I think if it would have been an equalizer where they made a couple great passes or there was a great run and the girl just made an incredible shot, that would be one thing. But literally giving them a pass and saying, here you go, have a one-on-one with our keeper, because we couldn't the best team in the country couldn't complete a pass from 15 yards with no pressure. Again, they weren't even pressuring. That's where you feel like it's like losing on a wild pitch or something. Like you would have liked them to earn the equalizer instead of just giving it to them. I think that's where the frustration comes in. Is you had the national championship won if you just could avoid a terrible mistake, and you couldn't avoid a terrible mistake. But you go to PKs 3 games in a row, 3 matches in a row. Come on, you live by the PK, you die by the PK. You're not. That's not a way. That's not a tenable way to keep winning against elite teams. So I think it was a matter of time before that that glass slipper fell off. When you can't just keep counting on going to PKs and winning it.
And then one team in the nation, they were perfect. Not really glass slipper. They weren't Cinderella. I mean, Santa Clara was Cinderella, right?
No. I just meant I don't know. That was
you're pushing. You're pressing your luck going into that arena of the game. Understood.
Right. And you played 330 minutes in your last 3 matches, and you scored 1 goal in regulation and in overtime. That's not a great recipe to win a national title either. Again, though, that being said, they were 7 minutes away from winning it, and they were the better team on Monday. That was not. Yes. I thought they were dominated most of the action. And in overtime, they had a shot hit off the crossbar. They had much better looks in overtime. It seemed like Santa Clara was almost playing for PKs. And then, it was just a weird end. Like the end of the double overtime, Florida State got 3 yellows in the span of 9 seconds. Jalen Howell literally gives the ball away, gets up and pulls a girl down by her shirt. I would have figured that'd be a red card. It was a yellow card, and they got 2 more yellow cards. They got that Santa Clara got that free kick from like right outside the box because of a really bad tackle. It just seemed like there was a little bit of lost composure in that second overtime when it became pretty obvious that it was going to go to PKs again, and then a match that they should have already been celebrating and posing with the trophy. They were now going to PKs, and they're all elite soccer players. They know how hard it is to win 2 PKs in a row, much less 3. So bummer, tough break. But yes, Florida State will certainly be back. But man, it's tough to get that close to 1 and not get it.
Hey, let's force the football real quick.
Okay,
Smoke Jensen Beats. What's the name of this person?
What happened to the song?
Oh yeah. You so fly, I buy you everything in the mall. She said, oh no, just force the football. Smoke Jensen Beats.
Can I say something real quick, folks? I know the way that just went down in your ear, you think that we had planned that, like we must have had a production meeting, and like, hey, when you say force the football, I'm going to say, what about the song? And you're going to give us the new song. I just want everybody to know that I had no idea that was coming. I didn't know that he had changed the lyrics up, that was more like a Color Me Bad type jam. And I'd like to apologize. I didn't know that was going to happen. So I apologize for even asking the question, for reminding him. But I liked it, Aslan.
Smoke Jensen Beats is on YouTube. You guys should do a list of FSU untouchables, players who you will not stand any negative comments about. He says, P-Dub, Dunn, Brooks, Ward, Dion, and hell, throw Aguayo on that list because his NFL career doesn't matter. Let's go with Mount Rushmore then. Let's go 4 guys. Warwick Dunn's on it. I mean, right? Right? Absolutely. He's bulletproof. Warwick Dunn is bulletproof.
Yeah, I think Warwick Dunn and Charlie Ward are definitely on it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't, because it's the off the field stuff too. Like, you can't impugn their character or integrity in any way, shape, or form. So those 2 for sure. Who after that though? Who are you thinking?
Myron Roll?
For you, it's Kelvin.
Kelvin's on there.
I don't think Myron was good enough as a football player. Obviously an incredibly smart person and might be the best neurosurgeon in the world. I don't know. Do they have rankings?
What's the thing, though? What's the matter, though? Like, what? He wasn't good enough, but he's a brilliant man who's making a difference in the world. Like, he didn't screw any games up. I mean, he wasn't a difference maker, but like, what's the beef with him?
Well, I mean, I don't know that I would put, I might put somebody that, was really, really good at football on the Mount Rushmore.
Jesse Warren,
football players.
Jesse Warren, Warwick Dunn, Charlie Ward, Jesse Warren.
Oh, we're going softball. Okay,
Anybody?
yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, he said FSU Untouchables. He didn't say football. He just listed all of his guys were football. So, I mean, we don't.
I was just keeping it football related. Yeah, Buster Posey would be on that list too.
Okay.
So I think Buster, Jesse Warren, was it Jesse or Jessica? She started out as one and ended up the other.
I think she started Jesse.
She started out as
Jessica.
Jessica, yeah, I think so. But either way, yes, the all-time best softball player. And just that catch will still go down. It's just unbelievable. I was thinking if the Florida State player, and I'm not going to try to pronounce her name, number 33, if she had made that goal, that left-footed goal in overtime, that run she had, and then that rip that hit off the crossbar, that might have gone up there in the realm of the Jesse Warren catch as all-time great FSU moments in a championship environment. But yeah, I put Warren and Posey on there. Sure. Bowden's not included. Mickey Andrews isn't included. They're coaches. But there's 1,000 to choose from, right?
No, there you can put a coach on there. It didn't end. You can impugn the way it ended. You can impugn the way it ended for Bobby. Mickey,
sure.
I think I would take a bullet for Mickey over Bobby. I think I would. Crazy enough as that sounds.
What could you say negative, though? There's really nothing you could say negative about Charlie or Warwick. That's the thing, right?
Yeah,
that's the untouchable. It's like, you better not say
it. Warwick, he didn't get in Charlottesville. Like, way to snap the ACC streak. But, hey, these things happen as football. You can't win all of them.
Yeah, he got in the end zone more than he didn't and made a lot of big plays. So, no, you can't say anything bad about those guys. Those are my untouchables. I'm going to stick with two. But those are my two, and there immediately came to mind was Dunn and Charlie. Derek Brooks wasn't great his senior year. Also got kind of, thrown into that footlocker nonsense. Had to miss 4 games his senior year, so people might criticize that. But nobody, I can't imagine any Florida fan, unless they're punting, could criticize Charlie Ward. And Florida State fans love him, and same with Warwick Dunn. And great people off the field in court.
Actually, I changed my mind. Warwick Dunn's off. Jimbo Fisher's on. All right, what's going on with baseball right now, Corey? RPI is a huge metric that's been used for years. In basketball, too, right? Isn't the basketball's got RPI, doesn't it? And with baseball...
It did. They don't use it anymore.
Right. Baseball has it, and for whatever reason, I think this was a part of the issue going into the season was... ACC decided to go to a 50-game schedule, which the SEC were going 56, 58, and this has kind of created issues because they're playing mainly conference, obviously. Where's Florida State at? What is the explanation for the fact that Florida State, even if they were to go and beat North Carolina State in a unconventional Thursday, Friday, Saturday series, there was the hope maybe that even though they're not one of the top 20 seeds and they're not going to be a host site, they could still become an actual 1 seed and avoid having to play, going to Gainesville. They could be a number 1 seed in Gonzaga or something and be the 1 seed out there. But that's not even going to probably happen because of these 3 letters, these 3 dirty letters.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So the RPI stands for Ratings Percentage Index, and it's a computerized formula that they've used for a long time in basketball, and they still use in baseball. They do not use it at the selection committee for the college basketball tournament. Used to use RPI a good bit. That was a tool. It wasn't the only thing they used, but it was a tool that they used to try to compare resumes and figure out, okay, who's going to be the 4, who's going to be the 6, who's in, who's out. They don't use that anymore. They stopped using it. Baseball has not. They still use it. It's still their predominant tool. In this year, they were, the selection committee. What worries Mike Martin Jr. and all the ACC teams is they're only playing 50 games. So they lost 2 non-conference series to start the year. The SEC didn't. So there's not a lot of cross-pollination with the ACC. Or there's way too much cross-pollination, I should say. And there's not enough other conferences affecting their resume in a positive way. So Florida State, their 4 series this year, 2 of them were going to be against Maryland and against Southern Miss. That was going to be 2 of their non-conference series. Well, That couldn't happen because of COVID. They got 2 non-conference series axed, and Florida State made an administrative decision in-house that baseball was not going to be allowed to travel for a non-conference road game unless it was Florida, just the one Florida game. That was it. That was their only non-conference road game they were going to have all season. So instead, they're left with all these ACC games, which is fine, sure, in theory. But so the way it's turned out now, because none of the ACC teams had great non-conference resumes because they didn't get a chance to. So they're all lumped. So I looked it up because, I do a lot of research, Aslan. You know that.
That's right.
So from number 44 in the RPI, number 43 in the RPI to number 55 in the RPI is 8 ACC teams out of 12 spots. They're all glommed together from 43 to 55. Florida State is 48. They were 37 Saturday. They beat Clemson on Sunday and dropped 11 spots. I asked Mike Martin Jr. about that. He said he had no idea.
Repeat that, Corey. Repeat that so it resonates.
37th in the country. They were 37th in the country in the RPI, which is a respectable enough number. They beat Clemson on Sunday in the series. They went down 11 spots to 48. Clemson was 51 before they played the game on Sunday. They lost, and they moved up to 49. So what happens, the way the RPI works, it doesn't just judge your record. It judges the records of the teams you've played. Therefore, Florida State swept Miami. So theoretically, when Miami wins a game, that should help Florida State because that bolsters the strength of schedule of the teams they've beaten. That bolsters the record and the RPI of the teams they've beaten. So when I asked Mike Martin Jr. about how that could happen, he goes, I have no idea. He goes, now Pitt lost this weekend, and they swept us, so that dinged us. Oh. But then again, we swept Miami, and Miami won their series this weekend. So why did that not? There's really no rhyme or reason. And the point of this is this isn't a show that gets bogged down in baseball RPI. That's not what we want to be to you guys. We know that's not listenable radio and podcast for the next 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 years. But in this particular instance, it wouldn't be that big a deal, except the selection committee proved very emphatically that despite what they said before the season started, they are going to use the RPI as their measuring tool, because when you look at the 20 host sites that they selected, the potential 20 host sites, they're going to end up with 16. But the 20 potential sites, you can look at the RPI when they made those selections and look at their selections and go, yep, they just went line by line down the RPI, and those are the 20 they picked. Now, they threw out teams like Fairfield that don't have the facilities. They threw out teams that didn't. Fairfield might not even made a bid. They're still number 2, by the way, because they're like 34-1, which good for them. Maybe this is a magical year for Fairfield. I hope it really works out for them. But yeah, so they went down the list, and all the teams that qualified, that put in bids, that had winning conference records, they went down the list and chose the 20 top teams on the RPI, which should give Mike Martin Jr. and every coach in the ACC a lot of pause. Like, okay, man, now Division I, D1 baseball has Florida State ranked 16th in the country. Baseball America's got them 12th, and normally that would get you right in the line of a potential number 1 seed. Even if you're not hosting, you could be a number 1 seed because top 16 teams should host. But Florida State's 48th in the RPI, which means you would figure if they're going to go by the RPI, that Florida State has very little chance to be a 1 seed, and they might very well be in the conversation of not making the tournament. If they're going to use the RPI as their sole gauge of who gets into the tournament, and they're going to put all their belief in this system, Florida State, they're 48th. Louisville's 55th. So it's just troubling. But they don't care about NCAA doesn't care about college baseball, so they probably will use the RPI and just throw their hands up and say, all right, this is our list. Florida State, you barely made it. Have fun in Gainesville.
HelloFresh.com is America's #1 meal kit. They're offering Wake Up Warchant listeners 12 free meals and shipping with the promo code WakeUp12. HelloFresh's fresh ingredients are sourced directly from growers, everybody, and delivered farm to the front door in under a week. And their simple, straightforward, streamlined vision for your meals cuts out all the stressful meal planning that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. The grocery store trips, I forgot this, I didn't get this properly, I got the wrong one off the shelf. Forget all of that. You can enjoy your cooking and get dinner on the table in about 30 minutes or less. Corey, you're going to You're going to have a meal here in 30 minutes or less, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I can smell it right now as we're doing this show. I just asked Stephanie what it is. It is creamy chicken and mushroom cavatappi.
Oh.
How's that sound? It's got Parmesan and scallions and mushrooms. It's going to be off the chain. It smells really, really good. I'll give you guys an update later on in the week how good it was, but I'm going to go ahead and assume it's awesome because it's HelloFresh.
There you go. Go to HelloFresh.com/wakeup12. That gets you 12 free meals and free shipping. HelloFresh.com, America's #1 meal kit. Corey, this one-on-one that you did last week, which has been up on Warchant for a day or so, but now we're going to put it on the podcast because we're just generous like that. You're generous like that. You go and grab all this content, you put out for the site, and then the podcast is an afterthought. Although we love you folks. You're the front of our hearts. Front burner, promise you. Mentioned it the other week when you first actually performed the interview with John Pock, who's absolutely he and his teammates are killing it out at Seminole Legacy Golf Course. Just an extremely likable guy. Folks, I know we just bogged you down with RPI, women's soccer, and now a golfer, which is not what draws 80,000 people in unison to chant and cheer for Florida State most times. But I assure you, listen to this interview. It's an extremely likable guy. You'll smile. A lot of his comments, his love for the university. How is he? How good are they doing right now in their regional? How I don't even know how we deem these rounds in the NCAA National Golf Tournament.
Yeah, so it's the Tallahassee Regional. There's 14 teams, and the top 5 finishers after 3 days move on to the national championships. And there's 4 different regional sites. So 20 teams move on to the championships. Right now, Florida State, they crushed it. They shot minus 17 on the first day as a team combined. Our man John Pock, no Clark curse with him. He shot minus 5, 67. He's tied for second, 2 shots behind a kid from Liberty. And the other 3 Florida State players, Vincent Norman, Brett Roberts, and Cole Anderson, all shot 68s.
Ooh.
So I guess it pays to play on your home course, but that is smoking, man. That's incredible. 1,700 in one day is really impressive. And John Pock is still, though they're all right in contention for the player championship. But yeah, so if they're in the top 5 after 3 days, they move on to the national championships, where they hope to give Trey Jones and the FSU golf program its first ever national championship. And John Pock is legitimately probably the best FSU golfer of all time for what he's done at the collegiate level. He will end up being the most decorated and have the most accolades of any golfer in Florida State history, and that's saying something because they've had some dudes that have rolled through here.
He's the ACC Male Golfer of the Year, John Pock. He and Corey sat down for this one-on-one right here.
All right, everyone. Welcome into another Warchant one-on-one. I'm with really the best Florida State golfer that's ever lived, John Pock. I know that's a weird thing to hear, but when you look at what he's accomplished at Florida State, nobody has more or had a better scoring average than this guy. He is currently ranked the #1 player in the country. He's a senior. He's still in school, which I want to ask about because I think maybe a lot of people might have left a little early. John, how are you doing? Thanks for being on with us.
Yeah, I'm doing great, Corey. Thanks for having me out here. I mean, I'm actually in Juno Beach, Florida right now, getting ready for the Walker Cup, but always have time for anyone Seminole related.
Good. Well, that's good to hear. And the Walker Cup is the amateur tournament. Is it like a Ryder Cup for amateurs?
Exactly. Yeah, that's basically it. You got the best 10 Americans and best 10 Great Britain and Irish players, and just go head to head in the little Ryder Cup format.
John, I wanted to ask you before we get started on your accomplishments at Florida State. Why are you still at Florida State? Because you were a very accomplished golfer last year. Other players do leave after their second or third year. Most, I would think, accomplished as you are. Why did you come back for your senior year?
I think the biggest thing was Coach Jones and my teammates. I've made a commitment since I got here to stay for 4 years, and it's been Florida State has given me some of the best experiences of my life, and I feel like my life has been all Florida State since I got to college, and it really has been. And Coach Jones has done so much for me. The whole entire program has done so much for me, and I just feel like I just owe it to them to stay for 4 years and do everything I can to help this team win a national championship.
But you see that lifestyle. We all see it. I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to be you, to know that that's very, very possible. to go be a PGA Tour professional. And the money, the friends, the locations, the life, the private planes. I see it all on Instagram because Brooks Koepka tweets it or Instagrams it. So you see that lifestyle. And how hard is it to not want to go jump on it immediately? How hard is it to stay patient and not go pursue that as quickly as you can?
You know, I feel like that stuff is all great and all, but there's just I feel like college is such an awesome experience that, I just met some of my closest friends, people I call them my family, and I really love Tallahassee. I love Florida State. I've had nothing but good experiences since I've been here, and I understand that turning pro is exciting and flashy, and there's a lot of money out there, but I feel like I've had such a great experience. Yeah, I wanted to stay here for 4 years.
When did you start playing golf? Were you 2? Were you 4? Was it when you could start walking? When did you start playing?
So I picked it up when I was 7 years old. My oldest brother is maybe 6 years old, is 9 years older than me, and he picked it up when he was 15, and I just kind of tagged along, and I started to get kind of good, and that's when I thought I could kind of pursue this in the future.
When you say kind of good, how good were you, and how long did it take before you were like the best 8-year-old around, the best 9-year-old
No,
around? Was
no,
it that quickly that you? Oh, okay.
it kind of hit. So I still remember when I was 9 years old, I was playing a bunch of U.S. kids events, and was shooting in 9 holes, mid 50s, low 60s. I wasn't very good, and then I kept grinding and practicing a lot. And when I hit about 12 to 13 years old, I think when I was 13, I came in second in like some national event, the U.S. Kids Teen World Championship. And I was like, I kind of competing against some of the best, 12, 13-year-olds in the country. So, maybe I should try pursue this. And, I was competing against some of the best ever since. And I feel like that's kind of when I knew I was good enough to do this.
When you're 12 and you're good, I'm just kind of trying to get in the mind of a 12 or a 13, early teen, really good golfer. Like when you go to the course, will you take 500 balls and just chip for an entire day? Like, or do you just want to play rounds? Like, you can't get good by just playing rounds though, right? You've got to put in the practice work. How hard is that for a 12-year-old to do? And how much did you do stuff like that?
I have my dad to thank a lot for that, because, if you told me without my dad to go hit 1,000 golf balls, there's just no way I'd ever do that. But my dad, he really pushed me. He wanted what's best for me. And when I was about from the ages from like 9 to 15, every weekend I would hit 900 golf balls, Saturday and Sunday. There was a range up in, North Jersey that I would drive out to, and in the winter times I can't do anything but hit golf balls. So I would hit 900 golf balls every Saturday and Sunday, and just keep grinding and practicing. And it was really hard to do that. Me, my dad and I got in a lot of fights, but he pushed me, and I'm really thankful for that. And I definitely wouldn't be where I am right now without that.
Where are you hitting them? You're just on a driving range hitting 108 irons and then 107
Yes,
irons? Is that
a lot of
how do
eight
you not
irons.
just take the club and just hurl it into a lake? Like after
Oh
a
no,
while, I would just imagine it gets so boring and
it does
so
get
monotonous.
very, very boring. But like I said, if I didn't do that, there's no chance I'd be as good of a golfer as I am right now. Not a shot. And I always look back on that. And back then, I was like, oh, my dad and I would always fight, and like I didn't want to do it. And I look back on it now, and that's probably the best thing he could have done for me then.
Why do you think he did it? Because he obviously didn't do it with your older brother. He didn't even start playing until he was 15.
No,
So was it because your dad saw something in you?
yeah, I think my brother started when he was 15, and he went down to Florida, and he was pretty good when he was 16. He won some state tournament after like maybe 7 months of practice. He shot like 75 and won something. And then,
Oh.
he thought he was good, which, if you only practice for 7 months, shooting 75 is incredible. And he went down to Florida, like played in some tournaments, didn't play well, and these guys were beating him by like 15 shots around and kind of realized he wasn't that good. And my dad was like, why don't you give it a try? So I decided to give it a try, and that's why he pushed me to my limit, and I'm really thankful for that.
How old were you when you broke par for the first time?
I want to say it was 11 or 12 years old. I can't remember exactly, but
And where
I
are you
remember
playing? Are
seeing,
you playing on the white? Are you playing on the whites? Are you playing on the whites? Are you playing on the tips? Where are you playing when you're that good as a 12-year-old?
I think I was playing like around like 6,000 yards, so it was still pretty short. When I was around 14, I started to play 7,000 yards, and I think around 6,000 yards, I shot 71 at the local public course about 30 seconds away from my house up in New Jersey.
Oh, okay. All right. That's probably a fun feeling. And a lot of people
Yeah.
watching this or listening to this are probably throwing some middle fingers at you right now that some 12 or 13-year-old is shooting under par when they can't break 90. And so you worked at it a lot. Do you still now, John Pock, as a 22-year, go hit 900 balls a weekend? Like what do you do now to stay in rhythm, to keep your shots the way they need to be, to keep your game where it's at?
Yeah, 900 balls, not a chance. That took me about
Mm.
I'd get there at like 10 in the morning and leave at 7 at night. So I can't do that anymore. But now I feel like because of that, I don't have to work on so many things in my game, my swing right now. So my fundamentals are pretty much there. So I don't have to work on it a crazy amount. So, a normal day is probably a 5 to 6 hour, uh, probably less now. I like to play a lot more, but if I really wanted to practice for a day, I go out there for 5 hours and, you know, work on all aspects of my game. Now that I live in Florida, I could go outside and, not have to hit in a driving range all day. So I can work on my short game, putting, bunker play and ball striking. And I kind of balanced it throughout the whole entire day. So that's kind of what a normal practice day looks for me. But I like to go out and play more and learn how to score.
I came up with a theory about you, man. So you moved more to Florida to kind of comment on golf. Is that correct?
Yes, I moved when I was
Or in
15.
high school, I should say.
Hmm.
Did family come, or was it your dad?
Just my dad.
And you homeschooled at the time? Did you go to like an IMG? Like, where did you go and finish up high school?
So I work with I went to this homeschooling program called Laurel Springs School, and I lived with my dad. I didn't go to it's called the David Ledbetter Golf Academy, but it's not like that academy like IMG. Like you just go there for an hour, get a lesson, and then you can leave whenever you want. But I joined this golf course in Orlando, and I practiced on my own. And then I probably see my coach once every 2 weeks, and then practice on my own some more. And yeah, that's basically it. But I didn't go to academy. My dad and I just worked together, and kind of did things that way.
But it's such a drastic life shift for a teenager, leaving your friends, leaving your everything behind in New Jersey where you grew up. There's a lot of pressure that comes with that. I bet you feel as a 16-year-old, man, I better make this work because this is a big investment that's being made in me. And there's a lot of pressure on me. And my theory is that that's why you're such a good golfer, is because you showed early on. You've been handling pressure since you were 15 years old. Is there some truth to that? Like there's a
No,
lot of
that's
young man
you're
to go down and pursue something like this.
you're very spot on. My dad, he he did a lot of things that try to, put pressure on me, and it was tough as a kid, but I look back on it now, and he's made me really tough, and I'm so thankful for that because, you see some of these other golfers and, they have all the talent in the world, and sometimes their mentality isn't there to quite be the best golfer they can be. And, it was a lot of pressure. My dad, you know, he sold two of his businesses to move down to Florida
Hmm.
with me, and he invested a lot of money in me. And, I couldn't be more thankful for both my parents, my mom as well. And I have four older siblings, and, they all like give me so much support. And yeah, it was really tough because, you know, there were times where I was like, man, I don't make it? My parents spent all this money and, I didn't do it.
Right.
But, my my dad, he kept telling me when I was younger, he always told me I wasn't good enough, that I needed to work harder. But it's kind of funny now that I'm at this level, he's like, you're the best golfer in the world. You got everything it takes to be the best. So, you know, he
Mm.
he kind of he made me really tough as a kid, and now he's nothing but supportive. And it's an interesting route he took, but I have him to thank for the career I've had so far.
Well, it can go both ways, right? Like some kids have dads that are like that and they veer off course and just get so sick of it, don't want to do it anymore. You went the other way, obviously. Now, like your dad said, best golfer in the world. That works out for you. But I did want to ask before we get into your actual career, number one, do people on campus know who you are? Do you get noticed walking around campus?
There's been a few times, yeah. I actually have. I was at a basketball game this earlier this fall or spring, and this guy who's handing out masks up top at the student section. He's like, "You're that guy." He was like, "Excuse me." He was like, "Yeah, you're that golfer guy." I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's me." I was pretty shocked, and it was pretty fun, and it's nice to have that feeling.
Not to get too personal, I asked Daniel Berger about this question. I asked him about when he was in your shoes as a junior or maybe a sophomore at Florida State. And I asked him about the female attention. Is there any of that for a college golfer? I know what it's like. We all know what it's like when everyone turns pro. Is there any of that? Do you ever feel like a college football player? Do you ever feel like Jordan Travis?
I mean, I don't know what their lifestyle is like, but I've heard about it. But I'm probably guessing no. But I have a girlfriend, so that's not.
Oh, well, there
I
you
guess
go.
it's the
That's
least of
perfect.
my
That's not even
worries.
something you're worried about. That's something you're not
Yeah.
even worried about. That's good. That's what, because I remember, I just think I asked Daniel Berger about this. He was like sixth in the country when I was talking to him.
Mhm.
He's like, I feel like I'm the best athlete on the campus. And like, I got the attention that like the backup quarterback gets. And I just wonder about you. It's just funny to think about. You literally might be the best athlete on a campus full of great athletes, but they don't know you like they know some of the other. Are you cool with that? Are you okay kind of not being the spotlight not shining so bright, even though you're one of the best in the country to do what you do?
No, yeah, I'm totally okay with that. I don't. I mean, it's nice to have that, but I don't really care too much for it. I have my friends and family, and those are the people I really care about the most. So yeah, it doesn't bother me a whole lot.
So I wanted to ask you about your U.S. Open experience, but before I do that, I have a girlfriend. I'm terrible at golf. I can't play. It just drives me crazy. But my girlfriend started about a year ago when the pandemic started and is becoming pretty good. But all she wants to do is hit the driver. When she goes to the range, that's all she wants to do is hit the driver. What's one piece of advice you would give for a novice golfer, a hacker like us, to get better that she really needs to concentrate on?
Okay, so the biggest thing is you don't score from your driver, you score from your putter. So I
Mm.
think if she wants to work on something, I would say, work on your short game. And when you're on the range, the way I see it is I like to work from, the lower clubs back up. So I do all my, drills and certain swing advice my coach gives me with my wedges and my short irons, and then I work my way to my driver. So the better iron swing you have, in my opinion, the better you'll hit your driver.
Now going to the U.S. Open, you were the low amateur there. Was it last year? Right? It was last year's U.S. Well, you're the
Yes,
only
last
amateur,
fall.
right? You're the only one that scored. You're the only one that
Yes.
stuck around for the weekend.
Mhm.
Can you tell me, like, look, man, we know what you are, and and you're going to be in these circles for a long time. But was there a oh my God moment, an oh my gosh moment, or five of them when you were at the U.S. Open? Like, I can't believe I'm talking this. I can't believe I'm playing with this guy. I can't believe that's him right there. Like, as a golf nerd, which I'm sure you are, you got big golf nerds. You love sport. You love those dudes. What was the big oh my gosh moment?
Yeah. So this actually may shock you. I'm not a golf nerd. My coach always makes fun of
Oh,
me for
good, man. Good. That's why you
not
seem so
watching.
normal. That's why you seem so normal.
I'm a huge NBA fan and a big NFL guy. I love basketball and football. I tell everyone if I was 6'5", I'd be playing basketball, but I'm just not blessed with that gene.
For you, would it be a bigger deal to be in a twosome with Jordan Spieth or with Steph Curry?
That's a really tough one. But the thing is, my favorite athlete of all time is Tiger Woods, but I'm a huge Knicks fan, so
Okay,
I would
gotcha.
I would kill to have it would be awesome to play with any Knicks player. I'm a huge fan. I just that's my favorite team to watch. But going back to your original question, that wow moment really hit me when as soon as I got there, because there was never ever a single tournament where I felt like, oh my goodness, like I walked in there and everything was in perfect shape. The way they treated you, the
Mhm.
hospitality, you feel like, you belong there and everyone wants you there. And then the second wow moment was I went to the range, and my friend has a video of it, but I'm hitting next golf balls on the range next to, so there's Tiger here, and then you got Bryson DeChambeau, then me, and then Sergio Garcia behind me. So I was like, oh my, three major champions all next to me, and I was
Right.
like, this can't be real, but it was, and it was just super exciting.
Well, so then we won't talk about golf anymore. And we'll let you go here, John. I really do appreciate this, but where do you think the Knicks can reach this year? Obviously, they're not winning the championship. I'm sure you think they might, but they're not. You know that. But as a
No,
kid that's
I'm
grown up a Knicks fan who's never seen any success at all, like they haven't done any live almost. How exciting has this season been for you?
when we went on that 9-game winning streak, I was super pumped. I always post stuff on my Instagram story. I'm always I've actually never been to a New York Knicks game because we've never been good enough, and I didn't want to spend the money to watch
Mm,
us lose. So I've never experienced that, but
fair.
it's just so hard. I don't like going to New York City, but it's been so much fun to watch them, and
Mm.
I think they'll win. They're the 4 seed right now. I think the 5 seed's Atlanta. I think we can beat Atlanta in the series, but then those top three teams, and obviously Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and the Sixers, I don't see us having any chance against them. But you never know. You never know.
Hey, Julius could go for 40 and 15 every night. And so I grew up in Atlanta, so I'm a Hawks fan. And I'm like the
Oh,
Hawks have
oh,
they've been a
sorry.
no, it's okay, man. You don't have to. I'm a realist. I know they're not winning a championship. I just
Mhm.
want them to get these young guys to get some playoff experience, so maybe 2 years down the road it'll help them. And I assume
Yeah.
you might be that way with the Knicks. Like, okay, you're not beating top three teams, and you're certainly not beating whoever comes out of the West. It's just
Hmm.
playoff experience under your belt. That's a big deal. Experience in life, experience at the U.S. Open for you is a big deal moving forward, right?
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I totally agree with that. We got some young guys on the team as well, like RJ Mitchell. I hope he comes back healthy. But yeah, that experience for them in the playoffs is going to be huge. I felt like I learned so much at the Open. I went to multiple guys out there and asked them just a very simple question. I introduced myself and said, "Hey, this is my first PGA Tour event and first major. Like, I'm lost, but what's some advice you can give me?" And I went up to like 4 or 5 guys, and they were all very welcoming, and they just told me, they just gave me the best advice, and I thought I was super thankful for that.
Well, John, last question. I want to wrap with this. Florida State's been one of the top programs in the country for years. Trey has done a fantastic job. There's one thing that's pretty elusive, though, that hasn't come. What would it mean? And I know there are things to think about before that, and you got to at least get out of the which announced, on Wednesday that your guys are at the Seminole. What would it
Mhm.
mean to get that national championship for Florida State and for Trey? I know that's your goal. Just what would that mean for you?
You know, I it would mean the world to me. That was, I came here in 2017, and you know, I I wanted to do this for Florida State. I feel like I owe it to them. Like I've grown so much here, and I love this school so much, and I want to do it for my teammates, my family, and especially Coach Jones. He's given me so many great opportunities here, and I feel like I've gotten so much better here, and I can thank him for that. So, I feel like to bring a national championship to Florida State, it would really kind of solidify what Trey has done, and prove everyone that we're a legit golfing school, and that you come here to win championships. And I feel like we've got the team to do that this year. And if we just play like if we just keep doing what we're doing, and play good golf and work hard and keep a great mindset, I think we're going to be really hard to beat.
Well, John, obviously, good luck with that. Good luck this summer with the Knicks. I hope they win you some games, buddy. I hope you get to see some playoff wins. That would be awesome. And thank you so much for spending some time with us, man.
Yeah, thank you so much, Corey. Really enjoyed it.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.